Hello guys, my name is Lucky. In this video we are going to learn how to do Peashooter from Plants vs Zombies in 3D in Blender. This was requested by a friend of mine called Lanny. She was talking to me these days and she requested me to do a tutorial on Peashooter from Plants vs Zombies. So let's get straight into this. So first, when you get in Blender, each project will have a camera and a light source. So what you're going to do is click on the camera, then hold Control, click on the light, and delete those in the hierarchy and the right side. So you can see here I'm in the side view, so I clicked Y on the axis, and now I hit Add Image, and then I'm putting a reference now. Choosing a Peashooter reference, which I'll probably leave in the description for you guys to use. So here we go, here's our little Peashooter. We are not going to need the cube, we're going to add a sphere. So this is for the head, we are going to start with the head. So we are going to rotate this 90 degrees. You can see there's a little tab on the bottom left, you can set the rotation. You can just put 90 in there, 90 degrees, 90 degrees, that's what it should be. Now I'm using the move tool to line up the sphere with the Peashooter's head. With the scale tool, you're going to scale it up and try to make it accurate to the Peashooter's head. So you squish and squash it a little bit till you get there. Here I'm enabling X-ray to see the reference behind, so I can see if I really got it accurate or not. You're going to be using this for future projects for sure. Now I'm going in edit mode. I'm setting it to face mode. Right now I'm selecting the tip of the sphere because that's going to be the snout of the Peashooter. I'm selecting it all. I'm hitting the delete key and selecting faces. That's going to remove all of the faces from there. I'm selecting edge mode with Alt Shift. I'm going to select these edges from the tip, and then I use E to extrude, and I can move it around freely. I'm using the scale tool here to scale it down to fit the Peashooter's snout. Now in this process, you're just going to use E and G. E is to extrude, and G is to kind of reposition it using the scale tool. Now I'm using vertices because you can see that some vertices don't line up, so I select those. I drag and select those, and now I'm putting them in place. As you can see, I'm showing that they're able to be moved with G. Now I'm just extruding and scaling. There's no secret here. Now I'm adding something called the loop cut. So a loop cut, it gives you more faces to work with pretty much. You can put it anywhere, but here I'm putting in the snout because I need more there to kind of make it more flexible, like it is, like in the, make it more round. It's all about pretty much just scaling it up and seeing what fits better. Here I'm just adjusting it a little bit, using another loop cut here and there, you know, to keep that round shape from the snout. Using the vertice again to really get it accurate. You can see it's a little bit squished here, but we will get into it. So I'm using right now the edge. You can see that it's not that circular, so we're going to solve this by adding an add-on. So you go to Preferences, Add-ons, and then there's going to be an add-on called Loop Tools. You're going to go to Add-ons. At the top right, there's a search bar, and you can search up Loop Tools. You're going to enable that, and now you're going to get in front view. You got to make sure you get in front view, or at least in a perspective that you're able to select the edges. So you can see that these edges aren't round. What you're going to do is you're going to select each one of these. You're going to select each one of these edges that aren't round. You're going to go at the right, and you will see that there's an Edit tab. You click on the Edit tab, and then you hit circle, and you can see that it's better now. It's proportional. You can do the same to the other ones that are sort of broken. You can fix that up, you know, make it rounder. You don't want an ugly Peashooter. Now I'm shift selecting this to make the snout, you know, actually have the closure of it. Later on in the video I'll actually finish it up. Here I just use like extrusion, and now I'm adding a loop cut. I use extrusion and scale, move tool, use the move tool here to get that kind of bevel out, like so it really looks like the Peashooter mouth. You can hide the reference with H, by the way, or you click up here. That is 2 ways to do it. Now you're going to select it because you see these like squares. You select it, you right click and hit shade smooth. That's gonna make it smooth. Look at that. Piece of cake. So now I'm gonna make the eye. It's pretty much just a sphere. You change up the shape and put it there. It's no secret. You will see what I mean in the video. It's really about squashing, rotating. You see here I'm rotating it like around 55 degrees or something like that. And now it's just pretty much just fitting it, making it like a little olive, and putting it in place. Here I'm using the rotation tool, the scaling tool to make it better. Here I'm trying to scale it, and then I actually go to edit mode and scale it there because the scale was kind of messy in object mode, I don't know why, to make it kind of flat, you know, so it doesn't look that ugly, like the eye popping out. So this is how I did it. And you see that it's kind of clipping, so like you can rotate a little bit to make it better, just like that. And then you shade smooth that up. So what you can do is hit Shift D to duplicate that. If you want to do the Peashooter in this perspective, which I don't think it's the best way. It looks kind of ugly, but if you want to keep that accurate feeling, you can do that, you know, just like that. But you see in other perspectives, it doesn't look good. So if you're doing a render or something like that, only render it in this side of the model, or else it isn't gonna look that good, I guess. But what I recommend it to do here is go here in this little wrench. These are the modifiers, so you click there. You're going to use the mirror modifier. So what's this gonna do? This is gonna mirror this object to the other side. So you put the y-axis, deactivate the x-axis. In this little eyedropper, you're gonna select the main part of the head, which is the head itself. You're gonna select the head itself, and then the eye is gonna go to the other side. Simple as that. There's no secret here. And then you hit here and apply. And then the next step are the leaves. This is kind of tricky. You really gotta follow what I'm doing here. So here you go to edit mode. You're gonna add a bunch of loop cuts here. See what I'm doing. So you gotta keep it like aligned, and then you go to edit mode and you're gonna add loop cuts. You can select it through here, but normally I do it by hand because you have a notion of how you're gonna do it. You can control it better. Now you're gonna go to the top view, or whatever view you like. It doesn't really matter as long as you get it symmetrized. But you select both of the edges, and then you're gonna use scale. What you're gonna do is you're gonna shape this like an actual leaf, so you will see what I'll do here. I'm just using the scale tool here. There's nothing really important. Now here, you're gonna select the edge mode and you're gonna extrude this. You're gonna use control and move it. You're gonna bring those down. Remember to keep the symmetry. Select both at once. I'm gonna bring these back. And you're kind of forming the leaf shape already. It's almost there. You just gotta like tweak it a little bit here and there. And then it's important to add these knife cuts, or else the topology will be kind of wonky because you're actually going to bend this like a leaf later on. You will see what I mean, so keep an eye on that. Always knife it down. To make the cut, you pretty much just connect one point to the other and then you hit enter. And then you're going in scope mode, you're gonna use grab. Always remember to have the symmetry up there, of course, which is on the Y axis. Go to the modifiers before you do all that. Put solidify so you have a notion where it's at. Since it's a plane, you can't really see it sideways, so this is the reference for it. You still have to manipulate it from the top though. Here, change the size of the leaf. I'm using the grab tool here, and I'm putting it all the way up. Always remember to keep it symmetrized, so I selected Y there. You want the leaf to actually have that little bend. Here I'm in edit mode, because I noticed it has like a little curl on the end of it, so I'm trying to achieve that. You see that it doesn't look too good, and then I try to add some loops. I kind of changed the values there on solidify, but that isn't important. Here right now I'm using this move tool, so it kind of gets rid of the imperfections. Here I'm using the drag tool, but like with a smaller radius. You always use a smaller radius for these like tiny parts. Here I'm making it my way, but you can make it however you want, like whatever your liking is. You pretty much just gotta play around with it. You can do it however you want. I'm using blob here to kinda make this crease in the middle, which will not be visible right now. It's more visible when you have the subdivision surface. The subdivision surface is a modifier I'm going to use later on, which gives more vertices and faces to the model. It gives it more topology overall. There I'm trying to make it more rounder like the original one. You can see that the crease is there. And then you shade smooth that. I applied the modifier, the solidify modifier. Now I'm putting a subdivision. Sometimes you want to put the subdivision at 2 because that gives you more to work with. But remember, this is not a game ready model. This is for renders. So it isn't going to be that optimized. But you can make it as you want. You can make the subdivision modifier have less subdivisions, less viewports. So there I'm using the knife tool if I'm not wrong, the sharp, the draw sharp in scoped mode to emphasize that crease. And then I noticed it didn't emphasize that much, so I'm going back to it once again and I'm dragging both of the sides to the middle to see if it emphasizes that little leaf crease more. Here I'm kind of messing around with the leaf, trying to make it better. So right now I'm applying the subdivision and I'm going in with the draw sharp again. Notice that the strength was too much and I changed it a little bit. And I used it there like 3 times if I'm not wrong to make that crease. There you go, you can see how it looks better. That looks really awesome right there. And this I'm using the pinch tool. The pinch tool is kind of like to bring it together, like, you know, make the crease more creasier, if you can even say that, but make the detail more noticeable. And that's the top leaf done right there. Now I'm going to the body, which is pretty much the UV sphere. You will pretty much do the same thing you did with the head. There's no like secret or anything, so I'm just scaling it. Now you're gonna cut this bottom part because that's gonna be the stem. So select all of that and then you're gonna delete that. And then you put edge mode, Alt S to select that, and then you're gonna extrude and scale that. There's another way that you can do, which is pressing Control and your right mouse button, but I think this gives you more control on it. At least I think, with the width of the stem, each section. Here I show it right here. The Control right click. It follows the path of your mouse pretty much. It's a good tool. The things that you don't really have that much control on top of it, but you can use it and then tick it later. It's because I like to do stuff and already, you know, like tick the issues and stuff like that. It's just everybody has their own like type of workflow. It's normal. And the stem is almost done. There's just one little detail, is that if you look at the bottom, there will be like this little hole. So to fix that up, you're pretty much just gonna extrude that, and you're going to do that. You're gonna like put it in there. You're gonna put it in. Then you do it once again. You're gonna go to vertex mode, vertice mode, and then you collapse them. And it's gonna tap up that hole. And this is the final part right here, which are pretty much the leaves at the bottom, like bottom leaves. Same method as the head leaf. There's literally no difference on this. The only difference that there's gonna be is the little cuts that it has, as you can see in the reference. So here you're gonna pretty much go with the same method. You're gonna loop cut that. Shape it like a leaf. Here I'm doing it quicker. I'm selecting like all at once. So pay a bunch of attention to what I'm doing here. So here you can see, I would say this is pretty easy. When you get the hang of it, you just use this everywhere now. There was a little issue there, if I'm not mistaken, that for some reasons the vertices weren't connected. I think it's because I extruded something, but yeah, right there. So what I did later on was go into the vertices mode, right click, and then I use merge and merge by distance, and it fixed 5 of those. And here I'm pretty much finishing the other tip of it. And then we have the shape of the leaf settled out. And as I said, it's pretty much the same method as the head leaf. You add the solidify modifier and everything like that. You can make it thicker if you want. I use the specific value as you can see there in the modifier, but you can do it your way. It doesn't matter. Here I'm bringing it up. You can see, because I'm using the sculpt tools, it's not like in a correct position, so I position it back. There's no problem if you do that, by the way. Here I'm just like taking it making it look more like the reference. Here I was thinking of adding the little curl, and I actually managed it later on with a sculpt tool called Grab Hook, which is the one I'm using right now. Keep in mind that you gotta have enough faces, vertices to do this, or else it's gonna look weird. So for these like small details, always use that. You see me here like kind of struggling, and I added a subdivision here. I got in edit mode, and I added some loop cuts right there. Kind of rotated it. And then I think I was satisfied with it here. This is pretty much all about adjusting it the way you like. So I used a bunch of different tools here. Smooth plus the grab plus the grab hook. All that to achieve what I wanted. And there we go. I'm pretty much satisfied with that. Before applying the modifiers, I decided to kind of add that crease, so I Alt Shift selected that middle and kind of scaled it down to make that crease. I could have done that through sculpt, I don't know why I didn't, but yeah. It works either way. If it works, it works. And you can see it right there. It has the little crease and everything. First, by the way, you apply the solidify, then you apply the subdivision. So it's always what's on top of your list to the bottom. Here I'm using the draw sharp, of course, to emphasize that crease in the middle. I'm using the pinch tool, just like I used in the head leaf. I'm trying to make it more rounder here. I use pinch here to kind of make it more like it's connected to the stem. I think that's what I tried to do. You can do it however you want. However you want. Smoothing it out to look better. Now you notice that the original leaf has those like kind of scratches or cuts. You add that with the grab hook. So you kind of take the tip of the leaf and you do these little like triangles around it. Like that. And there's one here at the bottom. Trying to get the angle to do it. There we go, look at that. And here on the other side, I'm just ticking it to look better. There you go, that's pretty much done. That's one of the leaves there. So I hit the reference. And right now here's a really important part, so pay attention to this. I moved it closer to the stem. Here I'm setting the origin of the object. but this is what I'll do. I'll go to edit mode. I'm gonna go to the vertice selection, and I'm gonna select the middle of the stem that we did before. So you right click that, snap vertice, cursor to selected. So now that's gonna be the origin. You're gonna select your leaf, set origin to 3D cursor. So now it's gonna be pretty much at the center of the stem. You're gonna hold control, you're gonna rotate it, and it should be something like this. You're gonna use the mirror modifier, and it's gonna be like that. Rotate a little bit more. And then I hit Shift D to duplicate it and rotate it the other way around. So you see that you have the 4 leaves now. Our Peashooter is almost done. Here I'm repositioning it like to the middle of the stem. Here I'm grabbing the stem and putting it all the way down just to, you know, symbolize that it has like a little stem. It's passing through, but if you don't want to do it, it's completely fine. I'm changing the head shape a little bit because it looked kinda weird. Here's an important part because I'm closing up the mouth. So you hit Alt Shift while you're in the edge mode, and then you extrude, and then you push it inside the mouth. Kind of weird. And then when you reach here at the end, all you're gonna do is pretty much go into vertice mode, and then you're gonna right click, merge, and collapse. There you go. And the model is pretty much done. There's only this eye here which got a little bit bugged, but what you do, go in edit mode, you delete that, and then you're gonna use the mirror modifier once again, Y axis, remove the X, and you're gonna apply that just fine. So now it's time for the materials. Get on that second rendering mode. You're gonna click the head, and then you activate the reference because you're gonna be color picking from the reference. So put that aside. Select the head right here. Now you're gonna go in edit mode. You're gonna put it in face mode. You're gonna create a material. You're gonna select the colors right here. You're first gonna select the color, the base color of the head, and you color pick that. Here you have the color of the head right there. Now you're gonna do the materials for the mouth itself, like the inner mouth. So you're going to select the inner mouth parts. For this middle section, I used Control and the right click of the mouse. So you hold Control, hold the right click, and then when selected, you just let it go. You create a new material there. While selected, by the way, don't deselect it. And then you're gonna color pick the darker color for the mouth, and you're gonna hit assign. Now let's go for the eyes. Since it's simple, it's pretty much just base color. You put like a black material for the eyes to kind of shine. Here you're gonna mess a little bit with the reflection and stuff like that. Put metallic on 0. put specular all the way up, and if you want, you could change roughness as you want, because if you don't want to make it that shiny, you put roughness up a little bit. Now we're going back to the head, and we are going back to fix the specular on that. So we are gonna set it to roughness, the mouth, and here you're gonna play it with it however you want. Here I'm setting like more shiny material, because the Peashooter is also kind of shiny, as you can see, like in the original one. Something that is cool to add is the subsurface scattering. Because the color's kind of bland, it makes like an interesting color scheme. So here I'm selecting like a more yellowish to greenish. Selecting some colors that actually go along with the color that I have. Kind of taking the settings here, like showing you it a little bit. The cool thing about subsurface is that it gives like another shade. It's almost like a gradient, but it isn't, you know what I mean? So now we're going to the easier parts, which is pretty much like the stem and the leaves, since they pretty much have the same color. So you can change the specular how you want, the roughness. You change that subsurface scattering to have, you know, that two color like effect, that color blend effect. Pretty cool, pretty neat, pretty awesome. So you go back to the leaves right here, and be sure to apply the modifiers first. Now you're gonna select them. As I said, apply the modifiers from each one. And now you're gonna shift select both of them. You're gonna select one, shift select the other, and right click join or Control J to join them both. You're gonna add the same material from the stem. And now you're gonna add the same material to the head leaf. And here's your Peashooter. Beautiful Peashooter. You can use it in your projects, you can use it anywhere. Here I'm showing you some rendering settings that Blender already has. It comes with these. If you want to like render this. So I hope you all liked the video. I guess it was a little bit longer than it should, but this is a tutorial video. It's for people who really want to learn, really want to get with Blender. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like my video. Let's get this video up. My channel is new, so I hope you guys like my content. Expect me to bring a lot more about 3D modeling, tutorials, etc. Thank you for watching my video, and I'll see you in the next one.